Alrighty, and welcome back to the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
I just realized my mom actually doesn't even know what this episode is because
Nope.
basically today we are going to talk about, this is going to be a mini series, I would say, but the Disney World renovations and what was worth it. So I'm going to go through the history of two different popular Disney World renovations that has happened in the parks. I'm going to go through what it replaced, what changed and everything, and then we're going to decide, do we think it was worth it or should they have not done it? I guess, basically.
Kept the old stuff. Okay.
So, all right, the first one I feel like is the most obvious one to start with, and that was the new Fantasyland expansion of 2010 to 2014. So this area went through a large expansion and renovation between 2010 and 2014. In the concept art, there was conceptual artwork for the expansion showcasing new additions and changes to Fantasyland, which included a new dark ride theme to Disney's 1989 The Little Film of The Little Mermaid, which was also located in Disney's California Adventure Park. Area themed to Disney's 1991 animated film Beauty and the Beast, featuring the Beast Castle with a new sit-down restaurant and Belle's Cottage. And there were two attractions of life-sized figures of Bambi and Thumper that can be seen playing in the woodland with the Great Prince of the Forest watching them from a distance. And there is also a rest area themed to Disney's Tangled and an interactive queue for Peter Pan's flight. So that was all in the conceptual art. In theory, most of that stuff did happen. I would argue only one of those things didn't happen. So they were originally plans for an area and attraction based on the Chronicles of Narnia film series as well for this expansion, but they were canceled pretty early on because when Walden Media's contract with C.S. Lewis's estate expired in 2011, basically they just fell apart pretty quickly. All right, so first up, what replaced? What had to leave so that new Fantasyland could come? Right now, in present day, most people just call the whole area Fantasyland, but for a long time there, we did call that new area New Fantasyland because it was new. So first to close was Mickey's Toontown Fair. So Mickey's Toontown Fair was closed on February 11th, 2011, in order to build the Storybook Circus area of the Fantasyland extension. Some elements of Mickey's Toontown Fair were demolished and others were rethemed to the new area. The Storybook Circus is based on elements of the 1941 film of Dumbo and other characters from the overall Mickey Mouse universe, I would say. Dumbo the Flying Elephant ride was removed from Fantasyland and then rebuilt in Storybook Circus. I actually do remember this so that when it moved, because I remember I thought Dumbo was in a different area when I was a kid, and then one day when I saw it there, it's just like, oh, that's different. And it's like, oh yeah, they did move the whole ride, so I was right in my memories. So the new version doubled the capacity of the old ride and introduced a new interactive queue. The Barnstormer at Goofy's Westacre Farm was renamed the Barnstormer, featuring the Great Goofini. Storybook Circus has been completed and became fully open to the public on October 4th, 2012. The first stage was then completed on March 12th, 2012, with the Barnstormer and the Storybook Circus train station complete and the first half of the new Dumbo ride. The second phase of Storybook Circus was then the indoor queue area, the Casey Jr. Splash and Soak Station, that opened in July 2012, and then again that final phase was the Pete's Silly Slideshow and the Big Top Souvenirs, again on that October 4th, 2012. So it was kind of in three stages that did the Storybook Circus area. What else closed in order for New Fantasyland to be opened? The other thing to close was Snow White's Scary Adventures. Snow White's Scary Adventures closed on May 31st, 2012. The original ride was removed and Princess Fairy Tale Hall, a new Disney Princess meet and greet area, opened on September 18th, 2013, where Snow White basically was. And an area themed to, again, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, was then built as well. And this was a new roller coaster themed ride. The coaster features a first of a kind ride system where the train vehicles swing back and forth, so it responds a little bit better to like the twists and turns of the track basically. And although this was not actually a part of the original plans for New Fantasyland, this attraction took the place of several proposed interactive Disney Princess meet and greets, which were all eventually not done because of this attraction. And then Seven Dwarfs Mine Train opened on May 28th, 2014, and was the last thing added to New Fantasyland. So really the only thing they did not do from that conceptual artwork, because we did get the Little Mermaid ride, and we did get a meet and greet for Little Mermaid too. We did get the Beauty and the Beast castle, and we did get the Beauty and the Beast restaurant. They also built the Gaston's Tavern area. I think that area is supposed to be what the Belle's Cottage area was. So again, that whole like little village area is what that was. We did get the Tangled area as well, where they created the Tangled toilets.
Yes.
And they also did do the interactive queue for Peter Pan's flight as well. They changed the queue for it. So really the only things we kind of didn't get was those attractions based on Bambi and Thumper.
I thought so. When you said that, I'm saying to myself, where are they?
Yeah, so everything for Bambi and Thumper
Okay.
just got missed over basically. So again, other things took its place.
Right.
Now what I thought was interesting is that the idea of the Princess Fairy Tale Hall taking over where Snow White's Scary Adventures was, I didn't realize that took over where that ride initially was, because I could never remember where that ride was.
Yeah, I could
but it makes sense that's where it was. So I was
Right.
just like, okay, so that's where it was, which is interesting. And now they just turned it into
just a big hall.
So what I also think is interesting is that, I don't know, I thought, because they said too there were supposed to be more areas for princess meet and greets, and they ended up not doing that in order to do the ride instead, which makes sense in the way that when we've done an episode last year on how to do princess stuff in the parks, basically. And when you look to see where you can meet and greet the princesses, you actually would expect there to be some more areas for some of the princesses,
Right.
especially since they don't switch out the princesses at the Princess Fairy Tale meet and greet hall that frequently, honestly.
Okay.
And you do have to pick a side. So like you only meet two princesses on that line, and you have to pick which side you're going to go on and which two princesses you meet. So I think it's like one side is like Cinderella and Rapunzel, and the other side is Tiana and I think Princess Sophie or something.
wow.
Or
Okay.
switch. I can't remember the exact princesses.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just interesting. I guess that's all to say. So yeah, so that was the major renovation. So do we think this major renovation was worth it?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think for what we got, like I said, I'm not a big meet and greet person anymore anyway, but princess meet and greet, I think that is not the best setup. But other than that, I think whatever they put in that added to that space, and the fact that they just changed the storybook circus and just kept those the rides and stuff in there, I think it was worth it.
I think so too. I think the only thing that I think is a shame was the closing of Mickey's Toontown Fair, because it used to just be like how Disneyland has it, where you would go into like Mickey's house and Minnie's house and stuff.
I forgot Mickey and Minnie's house.
Yeah, so that's what it used to be. They used to have these little areas where you could see their
Yes.
house and you walk around the little town.
That
and it was
was
really cute, and I loved it.
I love Mickey and Minnie's house.
I know I've said on the podcast before, but my biggest critique of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is that ride should be in Toontown in Magic Kingdom.
Yes, it should.
So in a perfect world, we would still have Mickey's Toontown Fair with the Storybook Circus as a part of the
and the
overall
ride.
area.
Yeah, that would
and
be
that
perfect.
ride, just like Disneyland, would be
Yes.
in that area, because that is where that ride fits the best thematically.
Yes.
And now, not that it doesn't fit that well in Hollywood Studios, but it fits better in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah,
and
you've
it
always
fits
said that
better
from
in
the day it
Toontown
opened.
Fair. Yeah.
And it does. It does fit better in Magic Kingdom back there by Mickey's Toontown.
So it does.
and
So I
whatever.
would say that's the only thing that not that I'm necessarily surprised. I think there's only a certain amount of space in that area that they could physically build in, right? Some of these things. So I get it. But yeah, I think that's what I would do. I would actually bring back Mickey's Toontown Fair as a part of the overall Storybook Circus area, because I think that area of the park, honestly, is a little boring. Like, I realize it's a very kiddie
never go
section of
back
the
there.
park.
Yeah.
It's all kiddie rides back there, and I don't have kids as of right now, so I understand it's like a very kiddie ride. But I'll be honest too, I'm not a big circus person. That theming of a circus doesn't really
circus
interest
never really gets me.
So I'm not really interested in the circus. So I'm not really interested to go back to that area because there's nothing else back there.
No, we never
but
go
the
back
circus.
there.
So,
But I think the Mermaid Ride and the castle and the other
yeah, I
things
think
that
all
we
those
got
things
was definitely
were great.
worth
Yeah,
it.
I definitely agree there. I love the Little Mermaid ride. It's one of my favorite rides, honestly, in Magic
Yes.
Kingdom. It's such a ride. They did such a good job on that ride. I do love the Be Our Guest castle as well too. When you go in there, we've eaten there a few times. Again, it's one of those things, you're going there for the atmosphere. You're
Well,
going
yes,
there
and
to be in the
especially if
castle.
you're a Beauty and the Beast lover and you have kids who love Belle and who love the Beast and who love all that stuff, you've got to go there and at least
Yeah.
meet them and see it and see the castle and see the rose and see all that stuff. So I think that's great. I think, well, I mean, as far as the bathrooms are concerned, that they needed some kind of big space where people could just hang out in front of the bathrooms or whatever. They're supposed to be the cleanest bathrooms in the parks. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't think so. I think they're one of the busiest ones, so there's no way those
yes,
are the
they're very
cleanest.
busy, but I think
I would say the bathrooms in Tomorrowland in like that back corner that no one knows exists. Those probably.
I think the
cleanest.
Gaston, the fact that they have his little tavern with the nice little treats and stuff is very nice. So I think that's good. So I think all of that stuff was worth getting rid of some stuff for. The only thing I miss is the Minnie and Mickey's house, because I have to tell you, it was
That's
really
what I'm saying.
cute.
I did love that.
Yes.
Because again, I don't necessarily miss the Snow White Scary Adventure.
No, I don't
ride.
miss that. That's why I
Don't
said
have a lot
if
of
I'm,
memories
if
of
I'm
that
weighing
ride.
off missing Snow White and getting all this other stuff, yes, it was definitely worth it. But you're right. The only thing, Mickey's Toontown was never a big thing for me, and I think because you were already getting older by that point, so it really wasn't something we had to go to all the time. But I do miss the little Mickey and Minnie house.
But it's funny because I was getting older, but I have such distinct memories of walking around those houses, though, which is so funny.
I know.
And I remember at some point when I was older, I was like, how come we haven't done that in a while? And then
Because
I
it's not
realized
there
because they
anymore.
didn't exist. But this was like before I was into like Disney news. I was a kid still.
Yeah.
And then that was when, all the renovations were happening. I remember we were saying, because like Be Our Guest Castle opened right as I was graduating high school. So I remember it was a big deal that we went there for my high school graduation. And so again, that was over 10 years ago now,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, that was a long time ago. So that's what I'm saying though. It's like, I remember how exciting it was to see all this new stuff and go sit at that restaurant, how beautiful that room was. And it was so cool to see. So I do think it was all worth it. I just think I just would have kept, especially not knowing that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was going to happen in the future. It's like, I would have reconstructed everything to put Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in Magic Kingdom, in Toontown, Toontown again, because when I go to Disneyland, that's what I'm most excited to see, is just how it fits
How it
thematically
fits
in that
in,
area.
okay.
Because I know it's going to be better than what we have in Disney World.
Right.
So I know it's just very interesting. And I'll say the whole Chronicles of Narnia thing stuff is really funny too, because I feel like Chronicles of Narnia and Magic Kingdom, that should be in Hollywood Studios, right? In theory.
Right, that should be in
It's
Hollywood
like-
Studios where Mickey's.
So,
Yes.
I don't know, whatever. I mean, like, they don't even have the rights anymore anyway to that. So I
Right.
guess we're never getting that
Don't have to
anyway.
worry about
But I just
it.
think it's funny when that was supposed to be part of this whole expansion. I'm just like, for what and why? But
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. So, all right, let's get into our second one now. So our second one is in Animal Kingdom. So Animal Kingdom was originally intended to be made up of 3 types of animals: today's existing animals, extinct animals, and animals that don't exist. So of course we have Africa and Asia for today's animals. Dinoland USA was the extinct animals, and then the land for the animals that don't exist was Beastly Kingdom, and it was going to that, which is what it was going to be called, and that was going to feature mythical creatures like dragons and unicorns, and of course it was never built. So instead, Camp where Beastly Kingdom was supposed to be, that was when they built Camp Minnie Mickey as a placeholder until Disney had the budget to build out Beastly Kingdom. Now, a lot of people, of course, know this when you walk into Animal Kingdom. You'll see in some of the main depictions of Animal Kingdom, you see the dragon in the center. Again, that was all because of Beastly Kingdom. So at that point, when they were building all of the decor and things on different parts of the park, the dragons and the mythical creatures were all part of it. So that's why we see a lot of those dragons and everything in the overall like marketing of Animal Kingdom, because Beastly Kingdom was supposed to be built, right? And they didn't build it when the park opened in 1998 just because of budget, but again,
Right.
it was always planned for them to build out Beastly
okay.
Kingdom. So Camp Minnie Mickey was built instead just as the placeholder, and this was themed to the woodlands of North America, specifically supposed to be the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York, which I thought was very
Adirondacks,
specific. So, and it was home to several meet and greets and the Festival of the Lion King. So again, because the land was only meant to be temporary for only at most a few years, but the success of the Festival of the Lion King and was so successful basically that it actually prolonged the overall life of that area to many years actually, and to the point when the next land would replace it, they built a whole new theater in Africa for the Festival of the Lion King to permanently move
Oh,
to.
they moved it to Africa.
Which I thought was
Okay.
really
Why
interesting.
do I not remember that?
So Adventures Outpost was moved to Discovery Island for the meet and greets with Mickey and Minnie, and then Donald and Goofy meet and greets were moved to Dinoland USA. And also in this area, they also had a live show called Pocahontas and Her Forest Friends, and this is where Pocahontas and her grandmother Willow would teach the audience about the beauty of nature and like living in harmony with nature and the animals there. This show actually closed in 2008, which was years before the Pandora expansion happened. So in early 2011, Avatar creator and director James Cameron was approached by Walt Disney Company, at the time executives Bob Iger, who was the CEO, and Tom Staggs, who was the COO, regarding the possibility of an Avatar-themed attraction at the Disney parks. So the original discussions held were about creating an Avatar attraction in Hollywood Studios, and this would, at the time, would perhaps replace what the Hollywood Studio backlot tour was. So Tom Staggs suggested incorporating the film into a newly designed land at Disney's Animal Kingdom to improve the park's attraction roster. Because again, that time they were like, we were still supposed to put something here, and we have nothing here yet, right? So James Cameron was actually quite surprised at Disney's larger approach in this scope, commenting, in quotes, "Disney's vision when they came to me was to create a land. I thought we were going to be talking about creating an attraction." So he was actually quite shocked that Disney was like, let's build a whole land of
Whole land
Pandora
around
rather
it,
than just
right.
doing one ride. So on September 17th, 2011, Disney entered into an exclusive long-term licensing agreement with 20th Century Fox and Cameron's Lightstorm Entertainment for the worldwide theme park rights to Avatar. Disney agreed to pay the 20th Century and Cameron a licensing fee and a percentage of merchandise sales. The deal was officially announced to the public on September 20th, 2011, and the highlight of the announcement was that Disney's Animal Kingdom would receive a new themed area entirely devoted to Avatar. While no specifics at the time were announced, the new area was described as being several acres in size and costing an estimated $400 million to build, a scale similar to the Cars land in Disney's California Adventure in California. So the area was and then later estimated to cost about $500 million, so only $100 million more than what they estimated.
Oh, true.
Disney showcased the first look presentation of the land in October 2013. So construction began in January of 2014 and was initially planned an opening date in 2016. The deal could see Avatar attractions added to other Disney theme parks in the future, including Disneyland Paris and Hong Kong Disneyland. However, there are no immediate plans to do this, and as of today, there are still no immediate plans to add Avatar anywhere else. And then later, the opening date was revised for Pandora to open in the summer of 2017. So then in February 2017, it was confirmed that the opening day would be May 27th, 2017. It's funny, I actually distinctly remember too when Pandora opened, because this was when I was getting more into the Disney community. The land received a dedication ceremony on May 24th, 2017, with many of the popular Disney executives, Avatar producers, and a lot of the Avatar cast as well there for the opening dedication. And to promote the park's opening, ABC aired a special series of episodes on The View live from the park, including some pre-opening opening ceremony things, and as well as James Cameron as well there too, like celebrating the opening of the land for Pandora. So all right, so what do we think of the land of Pandora? Do we think this Disney World renovation was worth it? Yay or nay?
Well, I'm not a Pandora fan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not an Avatar fan.
Well, let's say, was it worth it? And would you rather have Beastly Kingdom on the mythical creatures or Pandora?
I would rather have the Beastly Kingdom as long as I could still ride the Pandora ride.
Still ride the Pandora
I would have liked them to have just put the attraction, maybe with a little bit of Pandora stuff around it, and then kept the mystical Beastly. I would have loved something with the mystical stuff. I think that as much as I love the ride, I would like just the attraction, and I would rather have the Beastly.
It's funny because I think Pandora is so cool. Honestly, every time I go there,
It's very cool.
I love it very much. Of course. Now, I think the thing with Pandora, I remember when they announced this in this expansion, I was surprised because I didn't think the Pandora movies were like that popular. Now I realized even at the time they was like the #1 grossing film in the entire world, right? So I do realize that Avatar was the #1 grossing film. People really loved it, but it was just funny that when this was announced, I was just like, really? I was just like, out of all things, like they're gonna do Avatar. Like in my head, I'm like, it just didn't seem like it fit thematically anywhere in Disney. So, I mean, like with the lens of saying that they were supposed to have, because again, now in theory, the scope of Animal Kingdom, of course, has changed over the years, which I think is fine. I think it's normal for things to change and grow with the people and, with the times and everything. So, of course, now it's like, now we have, again, the mythical land of Pandora, which is supposed to fill what it was supposed to be. But now we're taking away Dino Land USA anyway, to a certain extent. So it's like, well, we're already taking away the extinct animals in that sense.
Right, now they're taking away the extinct besides the mythical.
So now we're just going to have the animals that exist today and then the mythical land of Pandora. So I guess it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, does Pandora really fit in Animal Kingdom or should have gone in Hollywood Studios? Because arguably you could say it could have gone to Hollywood Studios.
It could have gone to Hollywood Studios because it is based on the movies.
Yeah.
So because it is a movie theme, it could have gone to
And
Hollywood
I feel like
Studios.
that's why the Flight of Passage ride is so focused on the Ekrons or the Banshees, because it's supposed to be the mythical animal. If you think about it, Pandora only...
You think that's
if
why
you think
they-
about it, though, the only animal they highlight in Pandora is the Banshee. That's the only mythical creature that's really there. Now, there are other mythical creatures in Pandora, of course, so to speak.
Right.
But the only one that's really talked about, the only one that we see, like there aren't like
Because
statues
that's the only one
or
anybody
figures.
knows, right?
Yeah, is the Ekron.
Like I said, I know nothing about Pandora.
So that's why it's like in that sense, I'm just like, well, is it then even really animal based to be in Animal Kingdom? And it's like, I don't know. Now, I realized too, logistics wise, Animal Kingdom had the space for this land where I think Hollywood Studios did not have the space for this land. So I realized that. So in a perfect world, maybe Pandora would have gone to Hollywood Studios if there was the space and expansion for it.
Well,
so
if
I
they would have
it.
taken out Mickey and Minnie's Runway Railway and maybe moved something over, and then they took out the other.
I'm not sure because I think the
tour.
plans. Well, the backlot tours were Galaxy's Edges, and I think those plans were already in motion. We're gonna do another episode on Galaxy's Edge and the Toy Story Land stuff, so I didn't put that one in this episode. Or else we'd be sitting here forever talking about all the major renovations Disney has done. But that's what I'm saying. It's like in theory, it's like if you wanted to have it all, so to speak, or again, we would have maybe not had Galaxy's Edge and turned from Pandora instead in Hollywood Studios. But then would Disney have still built the Beastly Kingdom?
Let's go
and
with
Animal
the idea
Kingdom?
of why they put Pandora in Animal Kingdom, draw more people.
It
to
was,
Animal Kingdom.
yeah.
Up until now, up until Pandora opened, Animal Kingdom was the least crowded park ever.
Because there wasn't as much to do.
There wasn't that much to do. You went there, spent a half a day, and were gone. It was like, okay, we did it. Let's go. It's crowded. Their pathways are a little bit more congested because of the fact of it being
And a lot of
natural.
things close at sunset.
Yes.
so-
Okay. A lot of things close at night. There was a lot of different things about Animal Kingdom. So I could see them pulling something in there that wants to draw people to the park, which is really funny because lately anybody I've talked to has said that Animal Kingdom was more crowded than Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I think it feels crowded because they're still allowing the same amount of people in there, even though you're down a whole land.
You're
that
down a
people
whole
don't-
land, so everybody's got to jam into whatever's left. Plus, Animal Kingdom was already, like I said, hard to navigate in certain places because of the natural flow of things. It's not like you're walking through Epcot with the big wide area around the lake and all that kind of stuff. You've got more of these more central, like little paths going around. So that made a difference. I would have liked to have seen the mystical.
I think so too. And I think part of the reason why they didn't do that as well, because if you think about it, even in 2010 till now, Disney has really only been adding things to the park that relate directly to a movie. Right? So it's like they haven't been adding a lot of things that are just purely like made up, just purely like for fun, right? It's like one of the last things that we still have left, let's say in Epcot, is like Mission Space, right? Mission Space is a huge attraction that's based on nothing. It's just based on space, right? So it's one of those things where I think for Disney to invest $500 million into a land that they cannot determine the return on investment, whereas like they know for Avatar, Avatar made $2 billion or whatever in the movie theaters that would attract people to want to see the land, whereas Beastly Kingdom they don't know, right? It's like, how do they measure perfectly? Are people really going to be interested to see a dragon-based land, right?
I agree.
It's like you're just not sure.
Right.
So I think from that point of view, I could see like the CFO being like, we're doing this,
which is why you can see why they built Pandora.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a big Pandora fan, so if it was there, it's there. If it's not there, it's not there. It wouldn't bother me. But it does get a big following.
It does. And I will say, I actually did not. When I first saw the first Avatar movie, I thought it was good. I wasn't like a diehard or anything like that. I thought it was good. When I saw Way of Water, I became an Avatar person. I was just like, wow, I can see why people love the first movie. I really loved Way of Water, and I really liked Fire and Ash. And sometimes it kind of sucks to say that because I'm like, yeah, it seems a little silly, but I do. I love it. I'm like in the Avatar world now. I do a lot of reading about it and stuff too. It's very interesting. I think the world is so creative and just so fun, honestly. And so in that sense, I'm like, I'm a really big Avatar fan and a big Pandora fan. But what's funny is that even with that, it's just like I'm still more of a Star Wars fan. So it's like I get excited to go to Galaxy's Edge. I don't really get excited to go to Pandora, right? It's like we walk into Pandora, then we leave Pandora. I'm not like, wow, I want to spend time here in Pandora.
Go eat in the restaurant.
Or like look at all the details, or look at all the stuff. Whereas like if we're in Galaxy's Edge, I'm like, I would like to see all the details. I want to see all the stuff that's around here, right? So, and that's coming from someone who's an Avatar fan, who's seen all the movies, who's rewatched the movies even, right? So I don't know. So that's why, but I wonder too, again, I still think Pandora would have been, I agree, better in Hollywood studios. I think they didn't do Beastly Kingdom because of the return on investment risk, so to speak.
I understand why they didn't do it, but I would have liked to have seen that. And you're right. I would have taken Minnie's Runaway Railroad and put it in Magic Kingdom, and then taken Pandora and put it in Hollywood studios because it's a Hollywood blockbuster. It should be something that's in that park.
Like arguably, for being real right here, what they could have done if we want to keep Galaxy's Edge and keep Toy Story Land, they could have replaced where the Indiana Jones show is and where they're putting Monstropolis as well. That whole area could have been Pandora in theory, right? Now I don't know when they started planning Monstropolis, because I know, Monsters University and Monsters Inc. are huge movies as well. Very, very popular, of course. I am very excited to see that land come together.
Right.
But like low key, the Indiana Jones show, when we do the episode on Hollywood Studios, we'll talk about this a bit more. But Hollywood Studios used to be more about the showbiz, the behind the scenes of the movies.
Behind the scenes.
And over the
how
years,
they make the shows, what the props are. Well, it's not anymore.
Well, over the years, they've changed it to about the movies themselves, which I think is fine to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But now the last thing remaining basically in Hollywood Studios is the Indiana Jones show, which is about the behind the scenes. So it's one of those things, it's like, I know that show is still immensely popular. I don't necessarily think they're closing that show anytime soon. But again, it could have been an example where they could have, that's a huge area of space that show is taking up, right? The huge space area to have.
Big area with the props.
It's a big space that could be something, right? That could be a land, could be a mini land.
Yeah, there are ways that they could do all that. Like, I'm a person who hates change. Let's just put that out. I hate change. I don't like when things are changed. After they're changed, I kind of look and go, okay, I guess that turned out okay. But like I said, in this case, I don't think it was worth what they did. I think that they could have cut it down a little bit, put it in Hollywood Studios, and still had the mythical, creature.
Either that or decide to just keep Animal Kingdom focused more on like animal-based attractions. Because again, even when the new Tropical America's land is opening, I guess that's the thing too. I feel like they're morphing Animal Kingdom into a different direction than just animals, because Tropical America's is going to have an Indiana Jones themed ride, right?
Right.
It's going to have the Encanto house. The Encanto house has nothing to do with animals necessarily. No. It's only the one little boy that has the animal thing that he can talk to animals.
We all know why they're doing that. That's beside.
Well, I think it's good to have a Tropical America's land, and I'm sure they'll incorporate the animals into there, which is exciting to see.
Other areas, other nationality, other things. The idea here is that you're right. My whole thing about Animal Kingdom is I love the animals.
Yeah, I feel like the crux of the park should still always be animals, and I feel like Pandora sticks out because they're trying to make it about the Ekrons, but I feel like it's not that successful. No. It's more just about Avatar itself, and I think people just accept it because it's a cool area and it's really fun. But if you go back to the theme of the park, it's like it doesn't really fit that well in the park. Other than I feel like they're trying to make it fit.
Well, it's off to
the
side too. Like if you really think about it, when you come in, it's off to that side. You have to walk down that long area to get there. So they put it where it's kind of moved away from the what's going on. But you're right. I go there for the animal. Everybody knows. Any podcast you've listened to, I just love the animals. I love the safari. I love the treks. I love anything to do with the animal. And that's why I go to Animal Kingdom. And like you're right, more and more they're taking away the idea.
Well, I think they're just slowly over time. Again, I would love to know their long-term plan. I feel like they're slowly over time shifting the focus a little bit. And I would love to see, because again, it happened in Hollywood Studios to, they slowly over time shifted the focus of the park.
Focus.
And then one day we all woke up, it was like, wow, the park is more about the movies and the showbiz. It's like, okay, that's interesting.
That's
fine.
interesting. It's fine.
But it's like, how much are they going to shift the focus for Animal Kingdom? And in 20 years down the road, what's the park going to look like? I guess it's just an interesting thought, right?
Yeah.
So, but those were the two renovations I wanted to
me,
discuss
one was worth
today.
it, one wasn't.
I think in theory they're both worth it for different reasons. I would say. I feel like it's kind of hard to say like, was it worth it and all encompassing? It's like, because no matter what, it's still added fun things to do in the park at the end of the day, right?
Well, like I said, let's put it this way: Disney is a business.
Yeah.
They are looking for revenue, and because, like you said, they put Pandora in there because the Animal Kingdom was not pulling in the revenue that the other parks were,
right?
and they got that revenue. Those people run to that park to get on that ride, and while they're in that park, they're spending money on.
And I know people who have never seen
food.
I know people who've never seen the Avatar movies and say that they love Pandora, right? So it's like that's always.
I don't love
me.
Pandora per se, but like I said, it's one of my favorite rides.
Yeah, my mom loves.
It is amazing. I think that how they ran that ride, thank God. I mean, if they're going to put Pandora in there, it is amazing. And even though I'm not a Pandora fan, I think the boat ride is also
the Navi River
very,
too.
very, very interesting.
It is.
Very interesting, very relaxing, very entertaining to go through. So I think both of the attractions are definitely worth seeing and being on. The rest of it, I don't really care about because I'm not an Avatar fan. But they, like I said, they're a business and it all comes down to the bottom line.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. So all right, so next time we'll do maybe some of the renovations in Hollywood Studios next, and then if there's any other renovations you want us to talk about, let us definitely know on our Instagram, Almost Amanda X. I'll do some research into it and see. These were just the first two I thought would be the most obvious ones to start with, since they were two of the biggest ones that happened in the parks, especially in recent years. So yeah, all right. So normally this is where we do some Disney news, but this is a pretty pre-recorded podcast episode, so I'm going to skip some Disney news. We can go straight to our Disney memory, I suppose. So
Disney memory, Animal Kingdom. First time I went on the safari ride, Glory. I mean, I came off there going, oh my God, I love this ride. We have to go on this ride. I planned my vacations around getting on that safari. I
it's
just
funny,
loved it.
I love the safari in present day as well. When we were kids, it's like it's one of those things where Disney changes lots of stuff over time, right? And then you just kind of forget about it. But when we were kids, Kilimanjaro Safari had a whole different plot where there was like poachers attacking this baby elephant, and they used to make you think you were going to save this baby elephant, right? And like some of those rickety bridges are like, we're going to fall off this bridge. And that used to really scare me as a child. But it's funny because I remember one day going on that ride, or like one day in the future being like, what happened to that baby elephant? I was like, I haven't heard about that baby elephant in years now. And then I like was looking it up online. I was like, oh yeah, they just changed the storyline.
They just changed the script. Yeah.
And I will say I prefer not having that storyline. I think that storyline was a little hokey. But yeah, I do remember that storyline though. And I do remember being scared of the bridge specifically.
Oh, the bridge when they went over that rickety bridge.
They used to make it sound like we're going to fall off this bridge, right? And it's just like, I thought that was real, right? When you're a kid, you don't know what's fake and what's real.
I didn't even need that hokey story. I just love the whole...
I agree. That's why I think now it's better that they just talk about
going
animals.
through the safari,
I think that's
just
all you
getting
need
the
is
history,
animals,
just seeing what happens. I mean, anything can happen. When we got stuck on it with the zebras and the giraffes going all over the place. I mean, it just, I love that ride. That is, if somebody asked me what's your favorite ride, obviously, the safari.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. And again, let us know which renovations should we talk about next. And then you can let us know on our Instagram, Almost Amanda X, because again, we'll definitely do, this is only part one. There's a lot more renovations we're going to talk about.
Have gone on over the years.
So, all right, so I'm excited to talk about more renovations in the future. But until then, we'll see you soon.